All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to an instant reaction, not so instant reaction because it's the next day of the Boots Ennis versus the Chukhadzhian card. I'm sorry, that's not the best pronunciation of his name, but I'm gonna work on it throughout the video. Real quick before I get to the video, I'll be quick. The first episode of the Day One podcast has dropped. Link will be in the description. If you enjoy combat sports podcasts, make sure you subscribe. We're getting started weekly, and maybe we end up doing more. But for now, weekly, we're dropping an episode. Make sure you subscribe. So I decided to take a business decision and not watch UFC Fight Night to watch this card. I say it was somewhat worth it, but I saw the UFC Fight Night was also a banger. Also a very good card. But this boxing card was really good. On the surface, not all the people heard about it, but I made sure I watched it because I love Boots Ennis, I love Bam Rodriguez. And there's a couple more fighters that I learned about in this. Alright, so the first fight that we're going to talk about is Raymond Ford versus Orlando Martinez. What a performance by Raymond Ford. I didn't hear about him before this card. Like I said, I'm pretty new to pro boxing. I know he kind of had a slower start, like he got a couple losses. But, dude, his lead hook is nasty, dude. It's nasty. He's very fast, and he's very powerful. He had Orlando Martinez on his bike the whole fight, but especially in the last 3 rounds. He knocked down Orlando Martinez a couple times with that lead hook. And he also has a nasty straight left hand that also hurt him in that fight. Obviously, it's going to be flipped because I need to do that for copyright reasons. So, yeah, dominant performance, very nasty. People on the broadcast were talking about a Nick Ball fight after this. I think that's like a great idea. Nick Ball is also a great fighter. Supposedly that's going to be a rematch. I might have saw that fight and I didn't remember. That might have been the first Nick Ball fight that I actually saw. I just can't really remember. It might be though. So I would love to see that rematch after seeing the improvements that Raymond Ford has made. That would be a banger. Now, next, a superstar in the making, Jesse Bam Rodriguez. Already a big star in boxing. Not the most known boxer. I've seen him on social media a couple times. One of the most hyped crowds I've ever seen in boxing one time. Yeah, he's a superstar. He has a very entertaining style. He just goes for it, man. He's called Bam for a reason. In the first round, he knocks out Gueva with a nasty uppercut on the inside. So yeah, Jesse Bam Rodriguez is a superstar. I can't wait for his next fight. He's about to be a multi-champion. He's about to be undisputed. Who knows? There's a lot of good fights at the lighter weight division, so I can't wait. Boxing's on top, baby. Let's go. All right, now the main event. Now this was interesting because this is a rematch. Boots beat him by decision before. The whole point of this fight was to get a knockout and get him out of there. And with how Boots was fighting, I believed it. Like, he tried to get Chukhadzhian out of there the entire time. Actually got a bit overeager and got caught with a left hook pretty flush early in the first round. Which was kind of a trend going on in the fight. Like, Boots offensively is one of the most entertaining and one of the most stylistic strikers I've seen in boxing. His movement, his head movement, his slick uppercuts, or I should say slick uppercuts, always keep the hand up. But his slick uppercuts, his hooks, his straight punches, he's a switch hitter. Absolutely such entertaining boxing to watch, but he gets me a little nervous with his lack of defense. Like, sometimes maybe in this fight, he just didn't respect Chukhadzhian, but he was just in there taking shots and just eating them. Got hurt a couple times, but, you know, Boots landed a lot more volume, hurt Chukhadzhian way more times, and got the decision. But it was a bit more complicated than they wanted to be. I could tell the coaches were frustrated in between rounds, being like, what are you doing? Get this guy out of here. The coach's sentiment the whole time was just to knock him out. It was almost like they didn't even care about the points aspect. Boots was going for the kill the entire time. In round 3, Boots really started gaining momentum, but he was still getting clipped. Like, it was scary, bro. It looked like one of these could have knocked out Boots, but he has a great chin and wasn't respecting Chukhadzhian's power at all. Eventually, his straight left was starting to land, and it was really starting to hurt Chukhadzhian, and he actually dropped Chukhadzhian in the 5th round with an uppercut. I also felt like Chukhadzhian was gaining his momentum later in the rounds, but he was actually clinching a ton, way too much, and actually got a point taken for it, excessive holding. Besides the excessive clinching near the end of the fight, this was an absolute war. I got respect for Chukhadzhian. Obviously, I already love Boots Ennis. I don't think this is a bad performance by any means. I think these Ukrainians are just built different and hard to knock out. By the way, Chukhadzhian lives in Kiev, like right in the middle of the war. And he's training right in the middle of the war. So that's a bro right there. That's a dude right there. That's a badass. I don't care what anybody says. Ukrainians are very, very strong to be able to continue fighting with what's going on with their country. I respect the fuck out of Chukhadzhian, 1,000,000%. All right, so that was the Boots versus Chukhadzhian card. Told you I would get the name as the video went on. So yeah, this was a great card. I heard UFC Fight Night was great, like I said, but I missed it. I hate when these events run at the same time. I would love if I would get like a double header and I'll be able to watch both. One being like overseas and one being the US. It's always sick when that happens, when it's like a double header Saturday and there's boxing and UFC. That's always sick. Yeah, so that's all I have to say about the card. I can't wait for the next boxing event, which is Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. Oh Lord. Next week is a big one. I'm going to be uploading a ton. I believe that I will be making obviously prediction videos for both UFC 309 and Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. Prediction for that, instant reactions for both. I'll probably do a press conference video for both. So it'll be a lot. It'll be a lot next week. Make sure you check out the first episode of the Day One's podcast, which released today. The link will be in the description. If you enjoy Combat Sports Podcast, consider subscribing, liking the video, and getting us on the algorithm. Obviously, we're starting from 0 or 2 because obviously we subscribe. So make sure you subscribe if you want some combat sports content, even more than my channel. I'm about to be supplying crazy for y'all. Thank you guys for listening to me yap like usual, and peace out.